So anyway, I am Shel Brodnax. I am here with Melissa Marro. We've got a trifecta going in Florida. And like I said, Judy Welker and Carol Clark, hopefully they will jump back on. But let's get with Melissa first. Melissa, you've been a professional stager. On your bio says 10 years. I would have thought it was a little bit more than that, isn't it, by now?
It's actually closer to 12 to 13 now. I guess I just haven't updated the bio.
Yeah.
Because I started in 2015, right as the market crashed.
Yes. Great time for that, wasn't it? I've known you for practically, I think this almost the entire time. I met you right after you had started, and you've never been one to shy away from a challenge. So that's good. Market crashes, Melissa's on it.
Piece cake. Actually,
Exactly.
I actually think it was easier to sell in a down market than an up market, to be honest. There was a lot more value in staging then, in my opinion, because when prices were dropping, literally your home price was dropping every single day, then days on market really mattered. Today, it's much harder to sell, in my opinion, because everybody says, well, I don't really need to stage. All I have to do is put my house on the market. It's a seller's market. It'll sell. Right. So now we have to compete based on money versus time.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited to have you at RESACON again. You've spoken, gosh, a lot.
Almost every year. I think every year but one.
Yeah. And I don't think you went that year.
I didn't, because I just come off of being really sick.
Really sick. Right. So we're glad you're better. And I will tell you that you are absolutely a joy to hear speak. People, if you haven't seen Melissa speak, you're really missing out, and you're really going to want to. Yay! Judy's back.
Judy's back.
Judy? Okay, Judy, turn on your mic. I'm not going to touch anything because don't want to disconnect you again, but you turn your mic on from your
challenge got in.
There we go. So we're going to now welcome Judy Welker. Judy is also from Florida, and she's going to be speaking at RESACON as well. She's going to be doing a dual presentation with Carol Clark, and it's called Bringing the Mojo, Everyday Staging Hacks, Tips, and Tricks. So welcome, Judy, and hopefully Carol will be able to jump back on as well. So I'm talking here with Melissa now. We're going to talk about your session topic is called From New to Seven Figures in Less Than 5 Years.
Yeah. So most people who know me know I had a big staging company in Charleston, South Carolina. And I started right as the market downturn. Well, my husband transferred jobs to Florida in 2013. And with that, I sold my company there to my then partner and moved down here and had to start over from scratch, not knowing a single person, not knowing the market, not knowing the area. And so I'm kind of going to go through my journey on how I made it where I knew nobody and had to start from the ground up. Because admittedly, I had a big company there, but moving here, I had nothing. I had to completely start from scratch, just like every other new stager, which was almost overwhelming because I'd had a big company. And then to go back to being in when you have the big warehouse and you have a team and you have your movers and you have all these things, to go back to starting, in your garage and then to storage units and then sort of to rebuild that was tedious and it was tough. The good thing is I knew kind of what mistakes I'd made before and I knew what I could do better. And I followed that path. But my presentation is going to kind of go through my systematic approach to building. And now here we are at the end of year 4, which was 2017. We did just under $1 million. And right now I actually got our financials in front of me just because for something else. January, February 2017, we took in $107,000 in revenue. January 2018, we took in $187,000 in revenue. So we're at 75% more this year revenue than we did last year.
That's amazing. I just love it. So I know you had already said that you knew what mistakes you'd made, so you knew what to do differently the second time around from building. Was it more enjoyable for you the second time around?
It was easier in some ways and a lot harder in others. When I started the first time, it was kind of a crapshoot what was going to work and what wasn't going to work. This time there was a lot more frustration when things that had worked then in a down market, whereas we were on an upward market here, those same things didn't work. So to some degree, I knew what I didn't do right and I knew what I did do right, but I kind of had to still reinvent the wheel along the way. one of the things I will say is the more momentum that you get, the more momentum you continue to have. So if rather than trying to just go small and grow incrementally, it's much easier to grow fast. You just have to watch your money when you grow fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited to have that topic. Let's talk a little bit with you, Judy. Tell us about your topic and what you and Carol are going to bring at RESACON.
Joe, what it's all about is, especially it's good for new stagers, it's when you don't have the inventory and you want houses to look rich, it's bringing simple tricks and hacks and things that will mimic what is really expensive, but it's a DIY itself. You're doing it yourself. So from artwork, taking expensive artwork and mimicking it where it is inexpensive, to painting tricks that you can do with it to change for each one of the projects that you're on, to moving a sticker and how easy that can be, or what you might need to do if you have something that's like a cord that's not working, and just all different types of hacks, good things to know to make your presentation count and not be very expensive doing it. So it's bang for your buck as well.
Yeah, I love that. And here's another coincidence. We did not plan any of this, but everybody's from Florida, and this whole DIY aspect of it. And I know, Melissa, you have a retail store. And again, if you don't stock Melissa, you probably should, because you are probably one of the most creative people. The things that you make yourself, not everybody has these skill sets. So I'm always horribly impressed with the things that I see out of Linen and Rust, and just your whole angle on that, and the way that you're able to take what it is that you do and you infuse that design elements. You have this really great coastal vibe on a lot of your projects that just fits so well with the things that you create yourself. I love it.
Yeah, we call it low country eclectic.
Low country eclectic. I love it.
What a great name. And the way she did the books was fantastic. When you did that whole entire YouTube on books was just great. We loved it. So you were motivation for us on that end as well.
It's a nice cheap fix, just like you're saying with hacks. When we're busting out so many houses, like right now we have I think 8 houses next week, and we have maybe 1.5 furniture in stock right now. So obviously we're going to destage some before then, but I'm out shopping a lot, which means I'm watching my budget hugely. And then we're just trying to fill in where we can and do cheap fixes. So if we can go get, books at auction and then make them look better just by pulling off covers and just showing empty spines, things like that. That's, if you can get a big, huge box of books for $10, all hardbacks, but pull off the spines, they look good. Or you get those cheap cookbooks and, just start wrapping them up. But it's so much better and so much easier. And it's a great way to make your budget go much further.
Yeah, I love that. I can't wait to hear that.
And they look so warm and inviting in the house.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to hear you and Carol, Judy, with your hacks as well. So tell me, what's the market like in Florida? What are you both seeing?
For me, we are in
a
seller's market.
And Judy?
We're having a turn because of Irma. I think there's market, and now we have a lot of price decreases in the market, and then it's starting to turn into a buyer's market again.
Really?
Yeah.
And how far away are
1,100, both ends of the earth. She's north. I'm down south, as west south as you can get before you, and she's as north as there is to get to Georgia.
We're just south of Georgia.
So, yeah, span the state. You actually took east meets west and north and south. You did a great job, Shell.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we got it covered, all serendipitously, if that's a word. So, Melissa, what do you think is your best advice to a new stager coming on that has the aspirations to get, in a very short period of time, very profitable? What's your best advice for them?
Create a marketing plan first off. Before you do anything, figure out who your buyer is, what kind of market you want to be in, if you want to own your furniture, if you want to rent furniture, if you just want to do occupied houses, figure out your whole business plan and your marketing plan, and then get systematic. So one of the things, that I always talk about is farming. So every house that we did in the beginning, at least, an email went out to every agent that had a house like that in the neighborhood, basically saying, look, we just staged this house. This is what we provide. And then we have a systematic approach. And I'll talk about all of these steps in detail at my presentation. But really, it was creating a very systematic marketing plan that we used with every single house. So that the work we were doing not only was income for us, but it also was future income. And then teaching is the next thing. Figure out where your low-hanging fruit is, where whatever your business model is. So for us, it's vacants. It's what sort of my passion is. So go to the low-hanging fruits, which for us, we're investors and builders, and get hard and heavy in there and spend your time and all your money in there. Don't just try to like shotgun it and get whatever you can get. Go deep into whatever market you want to be in.
I think that's really great advice. I was talking to Mackenzie Fox the other day, and I used that same expression, the shotgun approach, I was telling her. I said, stagers originally, when they start out, they do the shotgun approach. They're just blasting it out to everybody and see if they can just ding anything. But with that, you don't penetrate. You're not honing in on it. So I couldn't agree more with you on that. Judy, same question for you. What would you recommend your best advice for a stager who's just starting out and wants to get very profitable very quickly?
You definitely have to have a business plan. There's just no question about it. And if you don't start with the end in mind of where you want to be and then work your way backwards on that business plan, it's just going to have a lot more difficulty as you go on. It can be a very challenging, as you well know, because of the fact that, a lot of realtors just don't, or why they want to. They'd rather drop a price before they'd stage a house and spend the money for it. And getting through that is another one of the hurdles that you have to jump. So as you go along, if you have that business plan and you can see which type of road you have to take and what you hit and hurdles along the way, will make it a lot easier for you as you go along. But there's never a dull moment in staging, and there's always creative ones. So as long as you believe and you keep on staying on your foot, even when it does get a little bit tough, the tough get going. I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. So Judy, with the hacks and the tips that you're going to be talking about, is this geared more towards the occupieds or vacants or both?
Both. Because if you have an occupied, they might think about the fact of, oh, I don't want to buy this artwork, or I don't want to do this. Well, we can repurpose things. So with some of the hacks that we can do, and I'll give you a simple example, is I went into a listing just recently where she had stainless steel appliances everywhere, and then she had oil rubbed bronze hardware in the kitchen. And they didn't want to replace it with all stainless steel. So we gave the simple hack. We called it our $8 fix. And before you knew it, it looked like they had stainless steel hardware on, and all of it conformed together in the kitchen. And they just absolutely loved it, because they were like, oh my goodness, I thought I'd have to spend a fortune, but you can here and resolve the problem for us. So it's things like that that are great for the occupied. And then as for the veil, I think that works in the benefit of the stager herself, because you're not spending a fortune for the inventory that you're using. You're instead using your inventory for less expensive, but it's a help on both sides.
Oh, look, we're getting Carol back. Yay. Carol, if you can hear us, go ahead and hit your microphone and your webcam so we can get you back. And I apologize if you are just joining us. I accidentally disconnected Carol and Judy earlier. So Carol's back.
Yay!
Yay! There we are.
Sorry, it's the first time my Mac has let me down. I had to switch back to my Dell to get it to work.
Boy. Uh-oh. Well, I will introduce you now. This is Carol Clark, and Carol's been decorating and staging homes since 2010, and she owns Love at First Sight Staging LLC in Coral Springs. So welcome to Stager Talk. Thanks for hopping back on.
Thanks. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. You would have been on if I hadn't disconnected people. So tell us a little bit about what you're going to bring to the table at RESACON for your Staging Hacks presentation. I know you're presenting with Judy. We've already gotten her take on it. Let's hear what you have to say about it.
Well, one of the things is that we want people to learn that you can keep your existing inventory in great shape. And we have several hacks and tips and tricks to help you be able to bring your A game. So it allows you to create a look without breaking the bank when you're first starting out, especially. It'll be great for new stagers when they're learning to how to build up their inventory. We've got several super ideas on ways that you can create things from other things and using spray paint, creating projects inexpensively that give you the luxurious look. And then we have tricks ways to make inexpensive items look expensive, and where to find great clearance items and how to do some shopping, which we all love to do shopping, how to do it efficiently and effectively. And paint tricks again. And then we have tips on how to better do what we do in terms of things we have to do, like removing odors and cleaning and keeping our inventory in great shape.
That's awesome. Are you going to talk about canvas art, doing your own type of canvas art?
Yes, we are. We've actually, when Judy and I went, she may have already told you this, but when we went to market last year, we walked around and saw all these different things on the wall. So we went, wow, we could make that. Oh, I've made one that looks like that. And so we have several ideas that are really awesome, easy to make, that can copy the high-end look.
That would be awesome to learn. I know several stagers do this. I know Lori Kim Polk did this with her own canvas art. And I think, does Todd do it too? Todd McAllister?
He might. I know Michelle Minch does as well.
Yes, I think Michelle does as well. And there are times you look at their photos and it's, this big statement piece over the fireplace. And I'm literally looking at these pictures, just drooling, saying, these people are so creative. It's just, I don't have that type of creativity for something like that. I've tried to paint in the past and nothing good happens when I do that. So it's, Melissa's very crafty though. Are you crafty also, Carol?
Oh, yes. I've been doing this since I was a little kid. And so I love making things. And I one time when my son was in second grade, I taught his entire class to cross stitch.
There you go. I've always loved the crafts. And I used to do, when I was in my 20s, I crafted all the time. Gina does toll painting really well, like you would pay for it. She's that kind of quality. And I used to paint sweatshirts and T-shirts, handmade sweatshirts, but I don't have time to do that anymore. I should probably get back into something crafty. It might make me happier of an individual. So
we're all about trying to do it quickly,
right?
Because we don't have a lot of time to do that. So we're trying to come up. We've come up with a number of ways that you can have a spray paint day or half a day and make several things, remake them so that they look new. And then we have other items that you can pull together from IKEA and to create something really new in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something that will make a great centerpiece on a table, that kind of thing.
That's awesome. So how many times have you been to RESACON, Carol?
This will be my third
time.
And I've loved it. RESACON is awesome. Every time anybody asks online on Facebook, should I go to RESACON? I'm like, oh yeah, you need to go to RESACON. I told somebody yesterday that my biggest regret was that I trained as a stager in the fall, and then I didn't go the following January, and I regretted that because that whole entire year I could have been benefiting from what I'd learned, and I discovered that the next year when I went. So,
but now you're back, so that's what matters. And I also know that, in addition to the sessions, every year, we poll people, what is it that you're wanting to learn? Because it's really changed. In the beginning, we didn't have senior stagers, seasoned stagers. We didn't have anybody that was in the latter part of their business. And so now we're bringing on more advanced topics. We have Ryan Marsh coming on, who is with online home staging, Todd McAllister's. group. They have 3 locations now, and he's going to be talking about that. So it's much more advanced topics, and we've added those on, and we still have stuff for the newbies. And I think a lot of the learning also comes from the peer-to-peer interaction when you're sitting at tables or you're sitting at the awards banquet, and the networking and the after hours. And it's just a whole experience. It's just a full on all experience, all encompassing. And so if anybody's on the fence about going, check out the website. We're just talking a little bit today about RESACON and about everybody's different topics. We can't give everything away about what they're going to talk about, but you've been able to see how, Melissa has, in 5 years rebuilt a company and gone to 6 figures. She started over. I mean, she had one very successful company, relocated, and then completely started over in another state and rose to the top like that. And she's going to be able to tell her secrets. And there's also a webinar on statistics that Melissa did with us last month. Check that out if you want to get a little bit of insight into the mind of Melissa Marro. This is definitely a topic that you don't want to miss. And I even have an appreciation that webinar, Melissa, got me reminded about why I need to be looking at some of my statistics a little bit more with what we do. I was always raised on them because I have a big sales background. So I'm always into the stats and the goals and looking at them and measuring them and everything that you put into it. But every once in a while you need a reminder, hey, I need to go back and look at some things, and let's, get a checkup on your business. So it's a great reminder for everybody.
Well, numbers don't lie.
Right. They're brutally honest.
Numbers aren't subjective, right? Numbers aren't subjective. Numbers are what they are. So you can have all the answers and excuses, and you can say, well, it was because of this or because of that. But in the end, the numbers don't lie. The numbers are what it is. And when I took on some business partners here in Jacksonville, when I'd kind of grown beyond my own financial means, I took on some investment partners. And the one thing that they would tell me was they couldn't improve what we couldn't measure. So we started measuring everything. And so that, and before then I already loved the numbers, but that really became about the dollars numbers instead of the dates and just the statistical data. But now, like, we know all the numbers because we can't grow, we can't get better at anything that we can't measure, or we can't know if we got it better. Then it becomes subjective.
Right. No, I totally agree. I have the same things with sales numbers and sales pitches, and if you need to be able to figure out how many times on average you have to pitch your service before you get a sale. And if you don't measure that, there's always big talk about putting pricing on your websites and whatnot. And I'm a firm believer, if you're new and you're still growing and you're needing that, don't put your pricing on your website, because if you do, then you don't know who's not calling you. You don't get to practice your sales pitch. But if you don't have it on there and you're forcing them to call you, then you have time to practice your pitch. What worked well this time? What didn't work well? If out of 10 phone calls, you got 1 sale, now you say, okay, now I'm going to go to 2 sales. Now I can raise it to 3 because it's measured, and now you can improve upon it. So that statement that you made, that's what Oprah calls a tweetable moment, everybody. You can't improve what you can't measure. I love that.
It's a big thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the just kind of moving back for 1 second on when we were talking about things that stagers that are starting out should know, and I think this is true whether you're starting out or whether you have a big company, is one of the skill sets that I think is always important for all of us is to remember that if we do this full time, we need to be working full time.
There it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's part-time effort gives part-time results.
So if you don't have anything on your books, then your full-time job is to get stuff on your books.
Absolutely. And I think another thing too is people wait until they don't have anything on the books to start marketing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, you need to be marketing all the time. So you will always have things on your books.
And if you get to the point where you're too busy to market, then you need to hire somebody to do something to give that time back.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. All right. Anybody else want to add to what we're talking about RESACON? Any encouragement?
So I would love to say that some of my very best friends in the whole wide world came from RESACON. We started out as back in the active rain days when we met all in the stagers group there, Stage It Forward. And then over the years, Karen Otto, one of my best friends in the whole wide world, came from really meeting her in person and connecting at RESACON. And I think without that, life would be a little more empty, if that's a weird thing to say. But when we work by ourselves so often in this business and we don't have a lot of peers, like realtors go into the office and they have a lot of peers. And you can go to your local chapter meetings and you meet some peers. But when you go to the conference and you meet hundreds of peers, then you may meet other people who have businesses more like yours, or you have people that you can talk to in more confidence that they're not going to take your marketing ideas and run with them. And while that should never happen in the local conference or in your local communities, I know that that's always a fear for everybody is if I talk about this situation, if I talk about a weakness I have, then my competitors could use that against me. If you talk about a strength that you have, then maybe people think that you're being full of yourself or what have you. But when you're in that environment where there's so many other people and they're from different areas, it really creates an opportunity for you to help each other grow. I know when I've had difficulties with my business and regrowing it, I know the people because I know their businesses because I've interacted with them so often, not just on Facebook, but at the conferences, sitting down and having those conversations. And we're able to share and mastermind together on a platform that we just can't do online.
And I agree with Melissa too, because you can get an idea of whether what you're doing is what you really want to be doing in terms of changing the way that whether you want to start doing all vacant or start doing all occupied. You can talk to people who have that business model already and kind of hear their pitfalls and hear, how they're doing it and get an idea of whether that would be a better fit for you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I love the camaraderie that we see at RESACON every year. And it's really nice to know everybody online. We are really a tight-knit community online. But then when you can go to RESACON and you're there with 400 plus other stagers that you've seen online, it's a really good chance to get to meet each other. I'm a big proponent of women helping women, as I know Carol and Melissa are as well. We had a little bit of talk about that. I have a coffee cup. I started a movement years ago called Save the Sisterhood. And it's really about, women, let's be supportive of each other. Don't tear each other down. Let's do what we can to work together. And it is a big problem in your local market when you go to a chapter meeting. I think a lot of people are a little bit hesitant to share because of the reasons that Melissa stated. And we certainly just want to support each other. And Karen Otto has the quote that she uses all the time, and I try not to butcher it because I'm horrible at quotes, but rising tides raise all boats. And it's really about the community. And I love it when she says that, and it really speaks home to the spirit of RESA and what we're trying to accomplish. So I want to thank everybody. I think we've lost Judy, or she's on here, or her webcam's not on. Judy, are you still with us? I can't hear her either, so we've lost them. Tech issues, gotta love them. We'll work it out for next time. So this is our Stager Talk has been a podcast in the past for many years, and we decided to go video. This is our wonderful result of it. It ended up working out, but we had a first 5 minutes of snafus. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. And if you're on the fence about going to RESACON, check us out, resaconvention.com. Home Staging Industry Awards, best way to be able to market your business. We have top 10 lists. So submit your work. It's definitely worth it. It's the best investment I think you'll make. We have can be called a top 10 professional stager. Here's Melissa with one of her awards. You don't have to be present to win, but we still would love you to go because we do these at the awards banquet. So it's a great way to get out there. And if you know an industry influencer, somebody that's influenced you and is working in the real estate industry, they don't actually have to be a stager. It could be a training provider, a wholesaler, a marketer, anybody that's working within the industry. Please nominate them for the RESA Most Influential list. And you can do that at homestagingindustry.awards.com. That category is free for you to nominate everybody. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Stager Talk, and see you at RESACON. Bye.
Bye.